like to have special moments with the show.
Special moments with the show?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You like to relax and have a glass of wine?
Yes.
Light some candles?
Yes, and listen to your edit.
Oh, actually, that means a lot to me.
Really?
That someone out there is actively like, yes, I want to listen to this guy in lady's voice.
Well, sometimes, see, that's why I skip some of the episodes to listen to.
Yeah, because they're bad.
Well, don't say that. No. This is Uncouth Tangents. I am your host, Doug.
And I'm B.
Welcome to the show.
Woo woo! Anyways, 90s month is over.
Yes!
So in a way, thank God. In another way, we're sorry. I know we promised.
We didn't give a time frame.
I put it in the description of the last one.
Did you?
I did, but, I could just go back and edit
Gosh.
it.
Big mouth B.
Go back and edit. We can always time travel, right?
Edit the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be fine.
No one will ever know, except, right now, with everybody listening.
Yeah, so we're just going to push back the Power Hour to our regularly scheduled program. I think we had tried to bump it up a bit.
Yeah, we tried to, have the YouTube feature a little bit more active. So, let's do another Power Hour. We're just doing BuzzFeed quizzes. It'll be funny. Yeah, that worked a little bit, but not really, I guess.
We still have full-time jobs.
Yeah, we have full-time jobs, people. Contribute to our made-up Patreon. uncouth-tangents.patreon.com HTTP.
We don't have that yet.
Huh?
Do we have that?
I mean, who's to say that by the time the listeners listen to this, we don't have that.
See, you can't
You gave me that look.
You can't be putting out false information. It has to be there first.
At the dollar, what would we give out?
We'll think about that later.
Oh, I kind of wanted to workshop that here
really?
right in front of you guys.
What
would you like? Would you like some dinosaurs trading cards?
You guys tell us what you might be interested in. That's the only way it's going to work.
A lock of my hair. I won't tell you from what part of the body.
Ew.
That's the dollar tier.
That is this show.
That is the dollar tier.
That's so gross.
So many tiers.
Yeah, and not all of them on the inside.
Yeah. Sometimes we have outside tiers.
Shower time.
Shower time tears.
Yeah, that's what that's
Hashtag shower time tears. Tell us your shower time tears, Let's get real deep. Get into this.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm listening to you.
Oh.
Yes, listener.
Boy. All right.
Just play this back whenever you need somebody to listen to you. Just me going, Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah, see, I would get frustrated at that because you would be saying you would be saying it at the wrong time. I would say, I didn't finish yet. Stop being rude. And then you would say, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That's so genius.
I know. I don't like it. I don't want it. Although we can make that for you guys.
Yeah.
Just individual ones.
Yeah.
Just like, oh.
Just a soundboard of our noises.
I need someone to listen to me today. Yeah, Oh, I'm sorry. Give us a hug. Bring it in.
Yeah, bring it in. Bring it in. Just put your arms around something and then pretend it's me.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
See,
I do it in real life.
You do this on purpose.
No,
you do.
I screwed myself over because I do this in real life. So now everybody thinks I'm just faking it. Maybe I am.
Maybe you are. I've suspected for a very long time that may be the case. So check it out. I just watched and listened to 2 old-ass movies.
Like, how old-ass are we talking?
Not that old-ass. So I listened to the audiobook of I Am Legend.
Oh, okay.
Which was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like 1954 or something like that. And last night I actually watched the original film of Lord of the Flies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't know there was an original film.
Yeah, 1963.
Wow.
Yeah. And everyone was kind of, I don't know if I wasn't surprised at what happened in the film because everyone had already built up, oh, this movie has this type of, incidents in it. And, like,
Are you trying to be spoiler free right now?
No, not really, because
Okay.
one of our coworkers was talking to me about it yesterday. And he said, "Oh, you're gonna know the part that I'm talking about when I say, oh man, humanity is awful, and you're gonna
Like an
look at
erotic
it.
thrill ride.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna watch it, and you're gonna think, shut up, I can hear you. But you're gonna think that, oh, we're awful. But I didn't think that at all.
Oh, so you came away very positive at the end.
Well, not necessarily, but I kind of expected them to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, if it's expected, but I mean, it's not generally known as like the great comedy either.
Well, it is a tragic kind of thing that's supposed to be detailing the loss of humanity and going back to this more primal and violent state, or more so the innate, I guess, feelings or thoughts that are inside of us will kind of come out in these dire situations.
Like reverting back to a more primitive state of mind is what you're saying, or
I wouldn't necessarily say more primitive, because when I think of primitive, I think about simple. So it's more so simple.
you guys check this out. I invented the wheel.
Yeah, like like simple living. Not necessarily being primitive doesn't mean violence, And so that's what that film was more so about. It's just like these boys that kind of do what came natural to them when put under pressure. Yeah.
Sorry, no. Can you say that? Put under pressure, but a little bit away from the mic.
Oh, pressure.
We don't have a mic or a windsock for that mic.
Yeah, a puffy ball. What did I say?
Put under pressure.
Yeah, put under pressure.
Oh, that's so much better.
I don't even know if that's going to tie in properly.
You know what? I can edit this one.
Okay. All right. What was the sentence that I said?
Doesn't matter. Let's
It doesn't
keep going.
matter? Okay. Fuck.
Leave this all in. We're doing fine.
Right. So I wasn't surprised at what happened. I mean, it was still, kind of fucked up for their behavior, but I kind of understand it. Not saying that that's something that I would do in that situation, but it just kind of made sense to me.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I do think Lord of the Flies is kind of your post-apocalyptic universe. I mean, in a certain sense,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the end of the world,
Right.
but it is the end of a certain civilization for them, and they have to like kind of rebuild it up, and they kind of become savage to each other. And
They did a shitty job
yeah. Well,
rebuilding the society, but it just seemed like that was the more natural way for it to go.
I like how it went immediately to prison. Like it just became like alpha male, and then like
What do
you're
you
my
mean
bitch
prison?
now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's why I say I don't know if it's because of seeing everything else kind of happen this way in movies and films. Like watching these types of things in movies and films kind of prepared me for this. Back during that time, I can see it as being something that
It's pretty
shocked
shocking.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like The Exorcist. Back during that time, that freaked out a lot of people. But nowadays, because we kind of see all of that all the time anyway, you kind of get a little bit desensitized. So I think maybe I was just desensitized to it.
You soulless bastard.
You can say bitch, it's fine.
I wasn't going to go there. Jeez. All right. As I fan myself. Like,
Yeah.
oh, jeez.
Call it what it is.
Yeah. Use the other B word. You didn't want to be a Jon Snow, I see.
So that kind of reminded me of something that I seen on TV. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a social experiment of where they put...
the prison? Oh, what is that prison?
No prison. I didn't even finish. How are you going to guess what I'm talking about and I didn't finish?
Because
Go
we
ahead.
hang around each other a lot. But
Okay,
I think
you tell me what-
I feel like we're on the same wavelength.
Okay, tell me what
So
I
they
saw.
did this social experiment, and it's about a prison, and they had to break out of it. It's called Prison Break. It was a documentary, and it was on Fox.
That's a show, and I've never seen that show. No, this was something else. And it was a social experiment with preteen boys and preteen girls. But the preteen boys, they put about 10 of them in a house by themselves outside of the cameraman and just let them have at it. They were given a basic food course before they entered into the house. And that was it. No rules, nothing. Just go in and do whatever feels natural to you. And those little boys fucked that house up. First thing they did was they painted on all of the walls just scribble, painted. One of them threw like sticky popcorn all over the floor, and it like made it horrible for the boys that were a little more sensitive or a little more clean and not wanting to walk on a sticky floor. They were miserable. Yeah, exactly. So towards the end, you saw like the separation of the louder, more rowdy boys versus the ones that just wanted to go home. Like they just stayed in a room.
That would be me.
All of them.
Just a nerd child.
Right. And so I think it was a week long, or maybe about 5 days or so. Mm-hmm. And towards the middle of the week was the first time that they all had the thought to eat together. And so
we're just scrapping.
Before then, it was just chaos. It was just bowl of cereal. Mm-hmm. That was it. They just attacked the cereal and nothing else. And so it was just so interesting to see that in contrast to the girls that were 10 and 11, and they did the exact same thing as far as leaving the girls in the house for a week, giving them the same food prep course, and then just saying, have at it. Interesting enough, the first thing that the girls did was also draw on the wall, but they drew pictures.
It wasn't just dicks.
Well, the boys just scribbled. Just imagine like black paint just scribbled in patches, huge patches all over the wall, basically to where you couldn't see much of the wall underneath it. But the girls, they ended up drawing pictures. And so one of the girls said, "Oh no, you guys have ruined the wall." And then they all started cleaning the wall. So they cleaned the paint off of the wall. And then that evening, one of the girls started to take charge, and she started cooking the meal for everyone in the house. And after they finished drawing all over the floor, they ended up cleaning up. So it was just interesting to see the dynamic. Now, they did end up getting into fights, but the girls were more prone to exacerbate their issues versus the boys who, they were just like, well, fuck it. You know, they were sleeping outside in a tent. One of the sensitive boys was trying to sleep inside the tent, and the one that they appointed leader. That's so interesting because all of the boys, even in the movie Lord of the Flies and in this little documentary, the boys will appoint a leader in the very beginning and then just have all of the responsibility go to that one person. The girls didn't do that. The girls kind of took responsibility for
their own
kind
actions?
of their own thing. You know, there was still some that broke out and did most of the cooking, did most of the cleaning, but, you know, no one appointed a leader. And also the girls, they were like, I didn't appoint you a leader, so you can't tell me what to do. So it was interesting.
Oh, that's very pros and cons of both situations.
Yeah, it was very cool. And then towards the end, or at the very end, the parents show up to collect the children.
And those children were all damaged and changed. They all had PTSD.
Some of them did. Two of the girls actually left and went home early. There's like an emergency bell that you can ring when you've had enough, and two of them had enough. One of them, she didn't get enough sleep because some of the rowdy girls wanted to stay up at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. And, yeah.
Are they grandmas?
No, that's my bedtime. She wanted to stay up at 2 a.m. And, you know, it was the argument of, why are you going to bed so early? We don't have any rules here.
Yeah.
Another one said, well, I'm sleepy.
I feel like you can relate a lot of this to like people when they first live in dorms in college, because for a lot of them, it's their first taste of like real freedom, like away from their parents. And
there's
so
like
they kind of
ramen
just
in the bed.
Yeah, there's like ramen in the bed. People are drinking like all the time and don't know how to like really control themselves. So it's this absolute chaos. But as soon as like you kind of go through like, you know, sophomore, junior, senior year, things kind of stabilize because you realize like you can't keep
like,
sustaining
man,
that
I don't
lifestyle.
like ramen on my sheets.
Yeah, I would like to sleep in a bed that doesn't have ramen juice on it. So, yeah, you just kind of grow up at a certain point. But what I thought was kind of interesting about that experiment is that we, as a society, kind of train a lot of girls from a very young age to be moms, just preparing them for like home life. Because we give them dolls and everything to recreate a home so that they can run through a bunch of scenarios and simulations and be like, I'm the mom and this is how things should be done, and just like all these things. Whereas like every guy, it's G.I. Joes. We're prepping them for war and we're trying to train these child soldiers most of the time. I'm not saying this is a blanket statement or anything. It's just like, look at the toys we give boys and look at the toys we give girls, and they're two very different aspects. And I like that there are companies that are trying to change that. They're trying to at least encourage more women to get into more sciences. I mean, Barbie has a lab coat now, which I think is interesting. She's not doing science.
Barbie.
Obviously. She's got too many horses to ride. There's like no time when you got that many horses to take care of. She's hacking into the mainframe computer. I think there is Silicon Valley Barbie, where she's got like a messenger bag, a laptop, and an iPad or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I was never a Barbie person. I got trucks when I was younger. So.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing, actually. That's really cool.
But then at the same time, I also got tiny animals and tiny kitchen things. So,
as we've discussed before, your
Yeah.
obsession with tiny foods.
Yeah, exactly. So, with I Am Legend, I actually prefer the movie better.
Which I Am Legend?
The
one with Will Smith?
Yes. I actually preferred that over the audiobook. And it's probably just because of the outdated information that they had as far as like garlic and vampires and the guy not even being a scientist or knowing anything about science, but somehow getting test tubes and syringes and all types of shit and end up doing experiments. It's like the experiments he was doing was something that they had scientists back in the 60s.
No, they didn't.
And the 50s.
No, I don't believe it.
Even before that. But they made him seem like
the nuclear bomb happened naturally.
Yeah, it's like the scientists didn't think of that. Like, oh, why don't I get a microscope? It's like, really? The scientists didn't get that far? Everyone died out before
they were
the
still
scientists
leeching
had
people,
that
I
idea.
think.
So it was just the outdated ideas that they had that kind of made me appreciate the film a lot more.
What do you think of the book ending versus the film ending?
I think I was more confused by the book ending. I understood it because it just marked the rise of a brand new civilization, I guess, or a brand new type of people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was just odd, I think, because they did not give enough explanation on these new types of people. Enough for me. You know, it was mostly said what they were in a letter. And you spend this entire book thinking of vampires the way that they're thinking of vampires as far as these bats and, you know, like I mentioned before, the garlic. And they didn't really do the sucking of the blood or anything, but, you know, not being able to go out in the sun, et cetera, et cetera. They spent so much time on that, but then summed up the whole book of what they were trying to say in this letter. And so
that seems really compressed. Like,
Yeah,
you
so
should have
it's
had a little
just-
bit more time to explain things.
Yeah, so it just came off as kind of odd. Like, where did that come from?
Oh, and then the book just ends.
Yeah, because, you know, he was the only one that was normal. And because he was the only one that was normal, he became the oddity and was then an outcast in this new society. And then, of course, they have to kill him or convert him or whatever they did to him.
Yeah.
So it was just really odd. So,
It's kind of a downer ending, but for human society. But yeah, there is like another rise of a different society. I saw a movie last week that was kind of similar to what we're talking about. It's called On the Silver Globe. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this movie, but it's really interesting, all the concepts that they try to cram in there. Like one of them is a group of astronauts who escape from Earth to start their own colony on another planet. And they crash land and only a few survive, but it's enough to make a whole culture. Like they reproduced enough. And as all of them are kind of dying out, one just so happens to kind of live much longer than the others. And by the looks of things, it's 1,000 years have passed. The movie kind of does this reverse District 9 thing where instead of the movie starting with a documentary and then going into a story kind of jarringly, the movie starts as a story and then it all of a sudden becomes first-person camera view. And it's this guy who's recording everything. It's this astronaut who's basically recording the life of what it's like on his planet. And so every cut, because it's one shot, every cut is him kind of picking up the camera, and it may have been like weeks or it could have been years. And so you just get these huge jumps in time. But you see this culture just start rising up and this new religion that starts building.
See, it's always religion.
Yeah.
That starts to build up. Things go to shit.
So he's kind of seen as like this biblical kind of figure because he's lived the longest. He's known the original mother of everyone, and so it becomes like really interesting.
Sure this wasn't the Book of Eli?
No.
With Denzel?
Because
okay.
everybody was speaking Polish in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just
I could go into like another part of it, but like, yeah, the movie drastically changes right after that because the Polish government thought it was a critique of the government, so they scrapped the film, and everybody who made the film had to hide pieces of it in their homes. So it was made in the late 70s, but they weren't able to like finally get a full cut together until 88, so like 10 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is real time.
This is real time, yeah.
Oh.
So it's a whole hodgepodge. There's certain sections of the movie that you're just looking at basically stock footage, and the guy is just voiceovering what was supposed to happen in the scene.
Oh, no, I hate that. That's kind of what I saw last night in Lord of the Flies in the beginning sequence.
It was just
because
stock footage and
they
some guy
didn't have the
talking.
technology. Well, it wasn't even someone talking. They just played music over it. But they didn't have the technology to show the kids being on the plane and then the plane crashing. So they just showed photographs of like a plane in the water, and then you're supposed to assume that, oh, okay, they crashed, and now these boys are coming out of the woods. No one's hurt. No one has a scratch on them.
Oh man, they're all Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis.
So that was interesting. Speaking of unbreakable, I'm actually very breakable.
Yeah?
I played football with my nephews over the weekend.
How did that turn out?
It was fun.
Wait, I thought you were supposed to go go-kart racing.
I did that too. But go-kart racing is only 20 minutes long.
Oh, I
You
see.
spend more time sitting in the go-kart waiting for them to say go than you do actually driving around the track.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't do too bad. I came in fourth
That's pretty good.
out of 5 people. But it was still a great time. And afterwards, they convinced me to play football with them.
How'd you do?
Oh, I actually
Was
scored.
it full contact or?
No, I don't want to tackle my nephews or have them tackle me. They're both
That's
taller
true.
than I am.
Oh, okay.
They're 15. And so I scored 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
Man, I paid for it. I'm still paying for it.
Are you okay?
This is days later. I'm fine, but
wait,
I
yeah.
kind of had the old lady syndrome, I guess, or even like the old man, where they have to take their time to get up gingerly.
Oh, I see.
You hold a part of your body that's aching, and then you try to get up.
And you just go, ugh.
Yes, there's a lot of grunts. A lot of grunts was happening. Oh, man, I've never been so tired in my life.
That's amazing.
I thought I was going to die,
You should
actually.
be proud of yourself, though. Not many people actually go out and do stuff. Period. I was going to keep
Period.
adding to that, but I was like, you know what? Nobody moves anywhere.
Well, I try to do, active activities and things like that, but I recommend not going from
You should just ramp it
sitting,
up.
sitting
Yeah.
at the desk to full-on football. Just throwing and running is not a good idea.
How do you play football with 3 people?
4 people.
Oh, 4 people.
Right. So I had a teammate, and then my 2 nephews were on the team together. They thought they were so clever. They said, we're going to be on the team together, and then it's going to be you 2. So it was like the old people versus the young people.
I see how it
And
is.
so
Got to teach these whippersnappers what's up.
yeah, damn straight. So I played quarterback because I was the only female that was out there. And, oh, man, I paid for that, too. I got carpal tunnel. My shoulders all fucked. I had one big shoulder and one little shoulder. And so the play that I did was I pretended that I was going to, as a quarterback, throw the ball to my running back that was on my team.
Yeah.
And as all of the boys shifted to one side of the field, waiting for me to throw the ball, I just ran the ball to the end zone. End zone was not close. I miscalculated by a lot.
You still got that touchdown, though, right?
I did. But it was kind of like a fall and drag myself into the end zone kind of thing. So
Well, sometimes that's how you just do it.
my knee brace flew off like Forrest Gump. It was
Oh my
intense.
gosh. Was there some people like telling you to run?
Yeah.
Run, Duff,
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. My running back actually came back around. He was like, go, go.
You started walking all wobbly. Like,
Brace flew off and everything. It was intense. I almost threw up. It was a sad time, but we still won.
that's incredible. Congratulations on that win.
Yes.
Score 1 for us in our generation.
The pride that I felt kicking their ass. Nothing
all the
feels
shit.
Yes. Nothing feels better than,
Stomping some 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Just like beating up on some teenagers and whatever game you want to play. It's fantastic.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. And then, so the score was 7-14. So the other touchdown was made by the running back. Yeah, I threw okay. I mean, he caught it.
I can't throw a football, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I told you I'm a fail child, so...
That's not being a fail child. It's just different situations. That was one of the first things I was taught.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my dad.
Straight out of the womb.
Yeah.
Doesn't know how to walk yet. I'll tell you how to throw a football, damn it.
Yeah, my dad taught me how to throw a football. But that was years ago when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, now I just sit at a desk all day, so it's a little different.
Yeah, to be fair, like, my parents, they were immigrants, so I'm first generation, so they're like, football, what is football? So, yeah, that's not a very good impression
You mean
of my
soccer?
parents. Yeah.
No, American football.
My parents are just not into sports. They're only yelling at the TV for a sports team because they're losing. They don't know which team they're supposed to be rooting for. They're like, you should have made that. That's the opposite team we should be rooting for.
They're only upset when someone's losing.
Yeah.
Well, that's how games work.
Game.
Yeah, like someone loses, someone wins. Yeah, it's such an interesting upbringing, I guess, between the two of us. My grandmother actually would yell at the TV also, but she knew what was happening, and it was boxing.
That's good.
Yeah, it was boxing, and she would like ball up her little fist, and she was like, "Go punch him, kick his ass," and it was just it's the greatest experience growing up.
I love that advice to somebody in a boxing ring. Punch him, you got it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking I was just gonna just take these punches, but punching back, that sounds like a good idea.
Stick and move.
Oh, move. I didn't think about that one before. He's like getting punched numerous times.
Well, that's how you start out.
Yeah, you gotta start from the bottom.
Yeah. Those are my stories.
Well, and that's it for this week.
Okay.
I'm just gonna ignore my stories.
Oh, we want to get to your stories next time?
Yeah, we'll just get to that next time if I can remember them.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah, don't forget to go to our website, uncouth-tangents.com. You can see all of our old episodes there. You can also like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and go to our podcast.
Wrap it up, buddy.
Go to our podcast at podcasts.com. No.
That is... Did I throw you off there? Like, wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm like, what? We'll do the podcast thing. Leave a review. Subscribe. I think that's it.
Goodbye, everybody.
Wait, hold on.
No.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Uh-huh. Yes. I'm sorry to hear about that.
God damn it.